Hey guys!
Hello.
Today we want to talk to you about 4 things that statistics say are the biggest reasons that relationships fail. Now, the next couple episodes are going to be about things that don't belong in a relationship, and then we're going to move on to some good stuff and some other stuff. We don't think we have all the answers.
By no means.
But I'm going to tell you like I tell my kids. I've screwed up a lot. I've experienced a lot of screw up, and I'd like for you to all make new mistakes. So,
I'm perfect.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
One of us had to be perfect, and the other one had to be a screw up. So
that's how we balance our relationship. So, anyways, if you find some value in this, make sure you hit the subscribe, hit that bell so you get notified when we have new episodes come up, and share it with other people. Make sure you drop some comments and help us grow.
Yep.
We love to be a part of the community here, and if there's anything that you would like for us to talk about, you can either put it in the comments, or if you go to the link in the description, it'll have contact information for both of us. All right, let's get to it. Hi.
hey,
All right. Today we're going to talk about 4 of the biggest reasons that relationships fail.
yes, we are.
What was that?
I'm just playing.
Oh my goodness. So let's see. The first one that I have is indifference. So when you just don't give a crap, you couldn't care less.
Right?
You tell me you don't like chives in your cream cheese, and what do I buy?
Chives.
That actually was something that happened to us once.
Yeah.
I didn't know. This was in the beginning of our relationship, right? I didn't know. Do you even remember this?
I do.
Okay. I didn't know this about him, and I had bought chive cream cheese.
Well, it's not that. It's that I like cream cheese. Cream cheese. She likes cream cheese
Flavors.
with something in it.
I like seasoning, baby. But I didn't know that you didn't. And you went to the refrigerator. I remember where we were living too. And you saw it in there. And he had a little bit of a meltdown. And I didn't know what the hell was going on. But it turned out in a prior relationship, that was something that there was an indifference about. Like that person knew you didn't like that and would still buy that and not buy you the plain one. Or that's what she told me.
Right.
I don't know. So that's an indifference. But I mean, there's lots of them. It could be in a relationship. It could be when you are anything that you're just not taking the other person's feelings into consideration, or how something makes them feel.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
Maybe it's somebody putting somebody down.
As long as you feel good about it. Don't matter if I do, right?
Yeah, basically. That's how it works. So the next one is violence. I think that one pretty much explains itself, right?
It'll bust her up.
And there are so many different, abuse comes in so many forms.
It's not just physical.
Correct.
Right? Yeah. This one was mentally beat up, right?
For a long time. And it's really weird to me because I'm really a pretty outspoken person. And we'll do an episode about that. I don't know. I don't know. I guess because when you're emotionally abused, there's a lot of manipulation involved. And so it doesn't just come down to being hit. It can be a matter of verbal abuse. It can be a matter of being held financially hostage. It could be a matter of, like, I'm very claustrophobic because he would back me into places
Right.
to berate me, and that's violence.
Yes.
So, the next one is contempt.
Yeah.
I see contempt as like, when you get to that part of a relationship where you just don't give a flip anymore, and everything that person does gets on your last nerves, so you kind of push their buttons.
Yeah.
Like, did you really just put one foot in front of the other the way you just did?
Yeah.
Are you really breathing like that?
Why do you have to do that? Right.
Yeah. And it's like nothing that person does makes you happy. And in all honesty, I kind of feel like when you get to these 4 things, you're in a serious place of downward spiral in your relationship. So the last one probably does as much or more emotional damage to people than any of the other 3.
Pretty close.
Could be.
Between it and the violence part.
Right.
Pretty close.
What's the 4th one?
Neglect.
We were just watching, we love to watch, like, what would you call the shows we watch? They're all like, we like to watch like FBI and NCIS and
crime.
Not necessarily crime, but they're, fictional cop shows, I guess.
Yeah.
Of some, I don't know what you would call it, but I've noticed that every one of those shows, the people that are in charge of these agencies never are in a relationship, or they're in a relationship that's failing.
Their job takes over their life, right?
Their job does take over their life. And in those cases, I feel like that would be really hard because you're really choosing between one life or another. But people do it with everyday average jobs.
They do. And the sad part is a lot of companies expect it out of people at a certain level, right?
That's true.
They say they don't, but they do. Because if they have you with your electronic device on you 24/7, they expect it.
Yeah, because when I was working in manufacturing, my phone rang 24/7.
Yeah.
And
yes, 24/7. All night long.
It did. I would answer those calls and give them solid advice because I would ask them the next day because I would remember none of it. None of it. But that took years to get to that point. Neglect. It can be neglecting somebody's physical needs, neglecting their emotional needs. Like, we've talked about the love languages before. And your love language is touch, physical touch. But if I never caressed you or rubbed your back or your feet or your booty cheeks, you would feel neglected because that's your love language. But I really feel like these 4 things tell you that there's something deeper wrong.
Yeah. And I think the neglect one, a lot of times that person don't realize they're doing it, right?
No.
Especially if you see the job ones that take them away.
Yeah, I think that...
or maybe they do and they expect, well, this is how I give you this roof over your head, so just deal with it, right?
And maybe you see it more so in homes where there's one income and that one person is the breadwinner and they're constantly working. And the person that stays home and manages the home and manages the kids and never has a break probably feels neglected. greatly.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot of times when people are in the person that is the homemaker at home, there's like a lot of identity crisis in that, because you fail to remember that you are anything other than that spouse and that parent. And that's the only thing you think you are anymore.
Right.
And so that's a lot. Yeah. But neglect can, and a lot of it, you're right, it does come from your job. It could be somebody who is very goal oriented and climbing the corporate ladder. And they can become so focused on climbing that ladder that they don't realize that they're becoming indifferent and neglectful to the people in their lives that are the backbone behind them while they're doing that.
Well, you do. Neglect also goes back to a prior episode that we had about getting so involved in what your kids are doing.
True.
That you neglect you and your spouse and your marriage and everything. You don't. I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there that you got to be careful that you don't realize you're neglecting yourself, right?
Yeah. And you really have to be intentional in your relationship if you want it to be successful. If you really love that person and you want that relationship to be successful, you have to be intentional with the way that you show love, the way that you show consideration, the way that you show respect. I mean, we talked to each other today. He's type 2 diabetic, and he's been living with this for years and years. But it runs in my family as well. And I know I need to do a better job to avoid that diagnosis. And I have not done that. And I told him, the thing about it is that for us, we need to focus more on helping the other person, because I am more inclined to do better for him than I am for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And vice versa. So in order for us to get those habits in the right place, we recognize that that's where our strength would be. It took us a minute. It took us a minute. That's an ugly test from a doctor, but it's, it took us a minute. And I think it's different for everybody. I think everybody has different strengths and weaknesses in their relationship. But you really want to avoid these 4 things, because those are the biggest reasons that relationships fail. Yeah. Now, I have 2 things that I think have no place in any relationship that we're going to talk about probably in the next episode. But these 4 are what statistics say kills your relationship. And when a relationship fails, there's emotional damage done. And I even heard a story once about the guy was like, I'm just over it. I'm done. I'm tired of even trying. Wait until the kid gets of age. We're done. Here's the papers. And she thought, I don't know who I am without this.
Right.
So if you hand me those papers, then I'm just going to go ahead and end it all. And that couple actually ended up getting some support and realizing they weren't making their relationship a priority. And they were doing some things in their relationship that weren't, that really just, to reiterate, didn't make their relationship a priority. And now they have a very strong relationship because they happen to have that conversation in front of somebody, a couple that had some compassion with them and kind of took them under their wings and said, listen, here's some things we've learned. And they took those things and applied them. They started dating each other. You guys have heard us say this. I just spit all the way across the room.
We'll measure after the episode.
We will. Sorry. Anyways, you've heard us say this before. They started dating each other again. Treat your relationship with purpose like it's a priority. Make time to show the other person how you love them, but show them in their love language. Because everybody's love language is different. Violence, there's never an option for.
Yeah.
Never. Okay, so clearly. And if you get to a point where you're just completely indifferent with somebody and you have nothing but indifference and contempt, you're probably done. You're probably done. And one day we'll probably do an episode on how to end a relationship cordially, because this guy is friends with every person he's ever dated except maybe 2. And there were way more than 2. Okay, don't let him tell you any different. I know. So, but that's a good subject. Not everybody knows how to end a relationship tactfully and friendly. But just be kind to one another. Always.
Always. We're going on a date trip here soon.
We are. And we will be documenting it in our stories on the other platforms. So make sure that you follow us on all platforms to keep up with us, because we post different content everywhere. So everybody have a great Tuesday. Thank you for tuning in. As always, please share this out to anybody that you think might find some sort of value in it. And we appreciate having you all here. Love for you guys to leave some comments. Let us know where you're watching from. Tell us about things that have been a challenge in your relationship in the past and how you've gotten past it. We love to talk all things relationship, not just about romantic relationships either. Because, you know, you've got friendships, you've got work relationships, you got parenting kids, and those kids don't care if they make you need therapy. And then we have a blended family, and they definitely don't care if they make you need therapy. So, but I think every blended family feels that way at some point. So, you guys have a great Tuesday.
Can't wait to see you next time.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.